but yeah, sure, we do use it. So original that it was done before the time of doing every last night bolt one. Yeah. And then we've got the sister ship MH4 unavoidable. It does maximum for takeoffs. So watching to it very closely. These very high ones that they're going to have a bit of a battle with the downwind taxi, because the second you turn downwind, any airflow that will work it through the radiators and it will just stay there. It's completely normal. But so if you turn down, it's a light. And inflates that bag into a drum, and yeah, that is your attempt to slow the aeroplane down. And this is your way of yeah, exactly. So how been the same. It works in the same manner.
Well, that happens back again to like Walker's engine guards, the different parts.
It's a very British way of life.
They're trying to stop it by that. Presumably then you would not use your brake too much on landing, you would use it for taxis more than that.
Definitely a taxiing brake, not really a landing brake. If you use them on landing at too high speed, you essentially just, most of the time I've never driven a car with front brakes these days, but certainly the back brakes on some modern cars are still a blunt. And it's a hopeless thing, really. If you put it on at any speed, it essentially phases, which just means that the brake shoes have become shiny.
So you just use the runway to decay your speed.
Don't think we've run out of things to say. We haven't. There's plenty of things in this commentary box that have remained unsaid.
But we'd like you to hear these wonderful engines. We'd love you to hear all the different types of engines. So we're going to shut up when they come on their home pumps.
Briefly got the Bearcat taxiing past here with Chief Pilot of the Fighter Collection, Pete Kinsey, the orchestrator of the flying programme in an unenviable task. Endless rewrites yesterday, I do feel for him. A mighty rubber Bearcat there.
Swiftly my lottery list.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Swiftly followed by a couple of Corsairs. Here go the Mark 5 Spitfires.
Less than half the runway.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Yeah, very light aeroplane.
So the chaps are going to bring this back around, all the way around to the north of the airfield there, and then they're going to split up into a couple of sections, and we're going to get to see the Mark 5 Spits are going to be close in, going around the nice dumbbell off to the south. So if you look out over your left shoulder again now, coming in from the left, it's Spitfires. Richard, how much turbulence is Plane Charlie getting into that?
Yeah, it looks like pretty hard work, doesn't it? So I mean, each of these aeroplanes, as we go, and apologies for that. It's a sound you keep listening to. This is sad.
So I sound just an aircraft spotter with the right job. I actually had the soundtrack
of Merlins and Griffins. That used to have this fantastic speech from a chap talking about I can't remember what his name was. It was a fantastic after-dinner speech. And on the other side of the tape, this is the era, on the other side of the tape was just Merlins and Griffins, just fly past and Spitfires and Merlins and Griffins, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a great sound. Maybe I've just grown up around it and probably love it too much. But.
So that was a cassette?
Yeah, it was a cassette. Yeah.
I had a vinyl.
It was just a really bad car that I had then. Some poor bloke called Breach in an absolute rocket ship at the back. It's an excellent Spitfire melee, actually. Just really nice to have those. You see the cannon from it, look at it go past it. The cannons just really stand out. Everything, of course, apart from the bottom.
Zero.
batteries and cannons, and then your 50 cals and cannons, and then 4 cannons.
That's it.
Yeah. And even this tail chase can be very hard work. You can put that thing through, some pretty rough air, and it really doesn't bite. It's very easy to fly over on the stick. And it is effortless. All the way from the Mark 5, all the way up to the Mark 14 at the very back of the 5-ship tail chaser at the back there. They're all an absolute delight to fly, just easy as anything. And I'm sure that if you were going to war at one, you'd be very happy with how light it was. You know, in a dogfight, it wouldn't be very taxing. Whereas you compare it to something like I've not had the benefit of flying quite a real M109, but I have flown blue shot quite a lot. It's very, very heavy on the controls. And I think, sort of exploring the dogfight, so far was unbeatable on the understand. But I think you could probably turn a whole lot.
I would just love to see you Mark 24 fly.
I think we will at some point. I mean, we've got to. There's enough of them out there. Somewhat. It is a more complicated airplane, undoubtedly. I think that's one of the ways to go. There's just the view of it. As we discussed earlier, it hasn't changed with the system. As we have the arrival of the Navy fighters, the US Navy fighters. Maybe I should talk less about it. So the Bearcat's going to clear off. We've got the 2 Corsairs. So we've got the FG1D at the front, the Goodyear built. That's very much a wartime variant of the Corsair. Behind it we've got the Sanis dash fire. Looks so much bigger. It really does, doesn't it? It looks like it's just, it literally looks like it's going fast or something. If you put the calipers over it, you'll probably find that. I'm sure it just looks big. Yeah. It's got the sort of cheeks on the cowling, which is mounting the oil cooler in the cowling. It's a very effective way of increasing the cooling, so you can run the aeroplane.
the Sally's collection of fleets with a fantastic collection. Really Airshow soft down. You enjoy Airshows as much as you do. Plus the flights and the fact that it's really experience.
Way back in 19 something or other at the Great Warbirds Airshow, and Stefan Kowalski flew it in on a beautiful summer's evening out of nowhere. We didn't know it was coming. He just hit us with it, and of course it was not the public day, it was setup day, so the flying display lines weren't in operation, shall we say.
Yeah, understood. The rules were different. I enjoy the setup day.
Yes. In those days, of course, not that long. But yes, and of course it was the favourite mount of Steve Gray, who was the originator of the fighter collection and also the originator of the Flying Legends.
It's the favourite mount of everyone that gets it.
Of course, it was the very last public display flown by Stephen, was flown in the Bearcat.
And it was just as good as the first one I ever saw.
It was excellent, absolutely excellent. Flown to Pink Floyd's music, which is an absolute favourite of Stephen, and Stephen is still here with us, along with his son Nick, who has taken on the mantle of Flying Legends.
And also flies the Bearcat equally well.
Yes.
Just as enjoyable to watch as his father or Pete Kids.
Yes.
For those of you at the northern end of the display line, while we're waiting for the Bearcat, I've got the benefit of seeing the Red Bull flying balls spark up there. It's a pretty polished aeroplane, which a bit of rain overnight has no effect on. That's moving, isn't it? That is really moving. So this is Pete's signature display. Now I can't see it from where I'm sat, but it usually involves a roll on the way up, which is a really good sign of a high performance aeroplane. And as we've been saying, we've got the real, Church Fenton is just a great place for displaying these really high performance warbirds, because it's not restricted by any airspace above it, so you can really go for it. Whereas at Duxford, we've always been limited. You always have to be a little bit careful because you've got this Class A airspace above you.
Of course, we placed the Hellcat, and when they flew the prototype,
It was basically 20% wider, at a 30% higher rate of climb, and was 50 miles an hour fast.
It's just a whole nother aeroplane. Yeah, 6 foot smaller in every direction. In everywhere but the cockpit. The pilots would have just been elated.
Just such a pity that it didn't make it.
Yeah, that's right. And climb rate really wasn't its thing, this was designed. They realised very swiftly that a Navy-born fighter needs to be able to drive all that. So they just pretty much designed this aeroplane and just took the Hellcat with the R2800 in the front, stripped everything they could think of off it on the drawing board, and just made it as light as they possibly could. We said yesterday about some interesting issues like the break-off wingtips, which were designed to be 7.5 chip wingtips. It wasn't very successful. However, they didn't break off, I think. Whatever. But they wanted them, and they decided that they should explode them. That would be successful. So then eventually someone like the Spark went, I'll tell you the pilot, got to pull so hard. Oh yeah, there's a fair idea. And that was then very successful.
Huge propeller, 12'4" diameter.
Yeah, great big aeroplane, that's hollow propeller, they say. It's not really, that's one of the really great things about the gyroscopic effects.
the shape of it, the sound of it. that elliptical wing, whatever it might be. But as you get to know a little bit more about these things, taste is allowed to change. And the P38, I don't mind admitting it, I was a little bit dismissive of to start off with.
Particularly operations in the Mediterranean and North Africa, and subsequently
On once the landings had happened, and that's where the B-25s and 26s really came into their own. Those guns just point, press the button. Or in its own right as well. Had a key role in the invasion of Sicily and then subsequently southern Italy in September 1943. It was one of the few fighters. I always think of those big heavy bombers as being a bit lumbering, but not so much of the twin engine ones. Much more manoeuvrable. And it really is brilliant to see the B-25 here today, because they do tend to be a bit sort of overshadowed by the latest simulators. It's such a key part of the Allied aero armoury. Service all around the world as well. Pacific, Far East. See, it's a bit bumpy today, a bit boisterous with the warmth from the Cumulus clouds around it. They are doing a great job. So led there by Stu Goldsmith in the P40F, owned by the Funny Collection. That's one of only two in the world. We said yesterday, this is pretty much one of the rarest formations that you'll see.
It is. Two of those aircraft don't exist anywhere else.
No, that's right. We've got a P40F at the front, a P36 on the right hand side, of which there is only one Hawk 75 on the left hand side, of which there is only one Airway. And
a P40C at the back there, flown by Paul Bennett, all the way from Pete's territory. And we're pretty sure that's the only P40C there is flying. So it's, you know, makes the P40F seem practically common. Up the front there, we're doing another one.
Do we call Four Curtises Curtine?
It's a good question. I'm not sure what the collective noun is for Curtises, but we'll just have to make one up.
Both P40s, that very long nose on the P40C with the early Allison with the longer reduction gear, the Merlin powered P40 with that deep radiator, which was pretty much an identification feature of all of the later P40s. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the P38.
What a show that was. So from a lineage standpoint with these Curtises, it's probably worth talking about. So we started off with the radial engine ones, as I understand it.
Yes.
So that was what, you know, that was the first thing that was designed. And then goes to the P40C, which is at the back of the formation with the long nose. And the P40F was really, you know, quite a lot later when they essentially tried doing the same as had worked so well with the Mustang by putting a Merlin in the front of it.
The Gypsy Rose Road, where less dancer, but they got the weight down. A lot of them used in the Pacific and the Mediterranean. Just gradually gaining ground on the 109s. So while we recover one of the hurricanes. Something back on that. Does it vary from the Spitfires?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of an odd thing to fly and land sometimes. You get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, I've probably got about 100 hours in these things, and it's I got very accustomed to it. It's one of those things. It's going to be a bit squirrely when. But the decision to make an airfield here was taken very badly by the locals. So it's part privately owned farming land and part crown land. Locals didn't want it. So they all got one at Sherman just down the road, why we need another one. But never changed with him as Chancellor of the Exchequer and Stanley Baldwin's government in 1935 pushed ahead with expansion of the RAF. And
wartime Prime Minister, you can't take away from him the fact that he backed the right horse in the mid-1930s. He backed modernising the Navy and massively expanding the RAF. These three aircraft. Version out of that. But they grew in number.
P-37 was the heaviest single engine fighter that came out of the war. And this is a D model. A few people have referred to the D model as the baby one compared to the one that was used in the Pacific. With the different wings to carry more fuel, and especially on all of those VLR. Very long range.
I mean, in the main it's obviously it's burning, but it's yeah, a lot of petrol inside. You put a couple of trucks inside. A very long way indeed.
Well, they would carry 3 drop tanks, not unknown in the Pacific, again with those VLR missions that were conducted. But the guys out of Iwo Jima.
And the Mustang, obviously, you know, escort for these are both escort fighters. So again, it is standard quantity for fuel. And for some reason, B-51, I don't know what it's going into. Just coming up with 300 gallons of fuel, which is yeah, there's not much tank. It's the wind there. I mean, always flying on escorts and drop tanks. Just go further. Both of them very, very comfortable.
Typical American.
The P-51, of course, was actually commissioned by the British in May 1940. And they went to the good folk at North America and said, can you make us some Curtiss Hawks? I said, well, I could, but another idea. Come and meet our chief designer, Angus Reed, Dutch kid, who was the owner of North America. I met Angus Reed, he was actually in Germany, and emigrated to South America, and then joined North America in, I think, early 1930s, something like that. And he'd come up with this design, and we just said, yeah, okay, I like look at that. If you can build it in 120 days, from these drawings to prototype, then you're in. They managed it in, I think, 117. Yeah.
And this aeroplane, I mean, it's staggering.
Absolutely incredible. But interesting, married with the Allison engine that powers the P-38, worked for the P-38, didn't work so well for the Mustang, and what they discovered was that the altitude worse than the UK. That was no good, that's not what they wanted. So Europe for now, so they use this
They didn't go very high,
no,
but they went a long way. It's incredible to think that just under 2,400 of these were built.
And are manufactured between 36 and 44. This one actually just down the road.
Absolutely. So it's flying today from Sherburn in Elmet, which is an airfield so close to the south. Something takes off from and also, you know, that was the home of Blackburn aircraft. Swordfish built by Blackburn. Now, the oldest surviving airworthy ferry swordfish in the world.
So you see this thing?
Might be the only airworthy ferry swordfish in the world.
Well, it did have two.
Yes, absolutely. They left the other one.
Somebody else in Canada had one being built.
Which is now down at White Wolf.
Is it?
I think the issue is mostly the Bristol Pegasus engine. They're not.
That's right.
And
you know, the Royal Navy Historic Flight have operated this aircraft for a long time. They've had endless battles with Pegasus. This one, I must say, sounds absolutely lovely. It's a pleasure to hear. He's slightly round.
First successful air torpedo attack in naval history was undertaken by the Swordfish, immobilised the French Navy battle cruiser Dunkirk in Mers el Kabir harbour near Oran in Algeria.
Obviously, probably most famous for the sinking of the Bismarck. You know, went and hunted it out up north. Torpedoed it successfully, not this particular aeroplane, it was with the Swordfish. Yeah, truly, it must be very scary flying out over.
These things, they also carry air-to-ground rockets under the wings, 60-pound warhead, highly manoeuvrable as you can see. And in November 1940, aircraft from a number of different squadrons operating from the illustrious attacked the Italian fleet at Taranto Harbour and basically ticked that box, and that was the end of them. But amazingly, after that, it was the Japanese who visited Taranto and looked to see what the damage was and how they accomplished the attack, and then used that in the formulation of their attack on Pearl Harbor.
Taking the salute now. Wave everybody. Seeing the guys in the back. Taking the salute.
Very, very hard to stand up in the back. It has been in the back, just for one circuit. So just there's a lot there. Effect off the top things.
Can you imagine getting 11 mappers in that cockpit?
No, I guess they just stack them horizontally.
Another very quick departure. There was a German BMW motorcycle strapped to the wing as well.
It's incredible to think that they actually sank 14 U-boats using this, and were responsible for the first U-boat sinking using rockets.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't need an aircraft carrier to be launched off a smaller ship due to its low flying speed, which is really, a really helpful thing to be able to do. You don't need a great big aircraft carrier to go and make a mess of someone.
People thought it was obsolete at the outbreak of World War II, but it was involved in basically every major operation engaged by the Royal Navy Fleet Aero.
Nice wing rock there, signalling his display is complete. More waving please, big waves down the southern side.
Bring it up and I see the people going on. Good coffee's left shining and stirring up. But it's worth the effort.
Lovely display there from, I suspect, a youthful pilot. Something called feel. And it's generally only display pilots and musicians that know about feel. And it's sometimes described as good hands or chops. But it's feel. And certainly
It's part of the fighting actually for
as long as they beat the fighter jet straight out.
Coming in on its first pass, then, is it? No, I think this is just the rear section. It's the rear section.
No, there's a new plan.
Who knows the plan?
But if we're going to see it come past now, I should be very happy.
Well, this is the tail end Charlie bit, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we've got all the Spitfires here and the Flying Bulls.
Normally it's 100 feet in an effort, so we're very honoured that the CA interested.
Again, the difficulty of assembling this mass formation. We just can't underestimate.
No, and now they've got the rear section together, honestly, the difficulty of joining that rear section with the front section, that's the trick. That's the money maker. And here, in the cars today, held by Paul Bond, who's done a bit, so he's lots of things he's doing. Look at that Part 5. It looks great with no wingtips.
Yeah.
Really, it's always been operated by the fighter collection with no wingtips, other than when it was briefly used for the filming of Pearl Harbor, way back in the day, where they did put some wingtips on it and dressed it as an Eagle Squadron aeroplane. But it wouldn't be the same with wingtips on. It's just
Pure racer, isn't it?
it really is, yeah. Certainly keeping his well inside the airfield now. Look at that, that's just lovely.
Because we're on the northern side of the hangar. Up end of the formation coming through now.
So if you look out to the left, you can just see the front section there, just dragging in that last bit of the front section. Just about to get it all together. Really nice actually. You don't see it being built.
Because normally
Behind you or down, way on the other side of the
It's really
airfield.
nice to sort of see it all come together like this. Really interesting. So look, here comes Paul with the rear section, just catching them up now.
So this won't be the actual Balbo parts, will it?
What
This
a
will
sound
be
it
the
is.
catch-up parts.
11 aircraft in there. Not that bad.
Let's have a listen to this.
That is just beautiful.
So cameras out, ears on, microphone on, we'll shut up, and you can watch and listen to this fantastic first ever Legends Morse Bravo. On your left.
Breaking off to the south. They're going to come through and land first. Front section heading off to the north. No beer for those boys yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think a round of applause for that Barbo. The Grey Air Force.
As I said yesterday, we should really send them all down to the Isle of Wight. I think we can take the place.
Definitely take it.
Aerial superiority.
Then you've got to work out what you want to do with it, if you want to do with it.
Well, it's true.
Mission accomplished.
Probably just flatten and put a nice big airfield.
Yes. Have an air show. Getting silly now. Oh, we're going to get some fun and games. Not landing at all.